All right, on to Selesnya. We have Advent of the Worm, colorless, green, green, white, and it's an instant. Put a 5/5 green worm creature token onto the battlefield, and it has trample. If that wasn't enough, this card is completely absurd, and the fact that it's rare means you're going to see it a lot more than things like Resurgence. Um, this is a very powerful card. I want to give it a 5.
I think it's very solid. I wouldn't give it a 5.
You don't think so?
No, I'd probably. I mean, there is a fair amount of bounce, at least in Return to Ravnica. So it's certainly weak to that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's insane with populate effects. I mean, it's I think a very strong card. I'd probably give it a 4 or 4.5.
It's like an instant too. I mean, I guess it's not as absurd as Resurgence, so maybe
Yeah,
this is our 4.5.
I mean, it's not going to win you the game by itself. I'd actually probably give it a 4.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
It's hard for a creature to be a 4.5.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that it's a token, is very relevant, and that it has instant speed and it's undercosted and all that jazz. I mean, like, it's just insanely efficient and very good and has great interactions. But you're right, it's not going to win you the game on its own. Like every time, like Resurgence will. All right, Armored Wolf Rider, 3 colorless, white, green for a 4/6. That's pretty unexciting. I give it a 1.5, 2, maybe.
I'd give it a 2.5. I mean, it seems pretty reasonable. It's certainly filler. Maybe a 2.
Yeah, I think a 2. Just doesn't do anything. All right, we have a Bronzebeak Moa, 2 colorless, a green and a white for a 2/2, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Bronzebeak Moa gets +3/+3 until end of turn. It's the new Herdnar. So yeah, it seems, I mean, like, pretty reasonable. It's going to be a 5/5 a lot of the time, especially like populate and stuff like that. It's going to do pretty hilarious things. I give this a solid 3, probably even a 3.5. Yeah, I'm going to change it to a 3.5.
That's hard. I think 3.5. I mean, the problem is, like, 5/5 is very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there are going to be instant effects and you can really abuse this or get multiple creatures into play. Like, think about this with, like, having, what was the not Call of the Herd, but the 4-mana 1/1 bird token and then populate.
Eyes in the Sky?
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be a blowout.
Yeah, no, I mean, totally. Like, there's just so many instant speed ways, Advent of the Worm aside, to, like, get creatures into play. And tokens for Selesnya. If you ever populate, like, this thing just gets +3/+3. Like, it just has so many good synergies with everything.
It's kind of a slap in the face to Herdnar there.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So Herdnar was a 4-mana 2/2 that only got +2/+2.
Right, and this is just, like, strictly better. Did Herdnar get the bonus if they played a creature? I don't think it did.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yep, Herdnar gets no love this set. Very sad. Okay, we have Emara Tandris, 5 colorless, a white and a green, for a 5/7. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creature tokens you control. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a pretty powerful effect if you're in Selesnya. I don't think it's, anywhere near absurd as that other 7-mana, creature that we saw earlier. I guess I'd give this probably a 3/5, maybe a 4, probably a 3/5.
Certainly not a 4. I don't even know if I'd give it a 3/5. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'd probably give it a 3.
A 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 7-mana 5/7. Yeah, if you have a lot of tokens in play or a token themed deck, it's going to be solid, but it's still 7 mana.
That's true. I think a 3 is reasonable. So here we have Trostani Summoner, another 7-mana card for a 1/1. That's pretty impressive. Green and white and 5 colorless. And when it comes into the battlefield, you get pretty much every token ever except for a bird, it looks like. You get a 2/2 Knight, a 3/3 Green Centaur, and the 4/4 Rhino. So, you get your sampling of tokens. I don't know how good this is. I'm going to say 2. 2.5 maybe. It just feels like Call of the Herd light.
Kind of, but I mean, Call of the Herd was you get 2 creatures in?
Well, you got a 4/4 Rhino token and then you populated.
Oh, alright, okay. I mean, yeah, I think it's kind of better than the last one, Amara Tandris.
Oh, you think so?
I mean, comes down. Yeah, it doesn't give your stuff. It doesn't prevent damage to the tokens, but I mean, it comes down, but you get 10 power.
You get, I guess, yeah, 10 power.
I mean,
That's true.
That's kind of a lot.
It is. Yeah. I mean, but like you said, like on turn 7, is that 2/2 white knight vigilance thing going to do anything?
True. It depends. If you're building towards an alpha strike, then it might.
It might.
Or have like a phantom general and whatnot.
Right.
But, I certainly wouldn't take it highly, but I'd probably. I think it's yeah, okay, 2.5. You've convinced me.
Unflinching Courage. This is enchantment aura, 1 colorless, a green and a white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has trample and lifelink. So like this just is Armadillo Cloak, or was there a difference between the two?
It sounds the same to me.
Yeah. I don't remember. Armadillo Cloak might have been like +3/+1 or something. I don't remember.
I think it was 2/2 as well.
Was it 2/2 as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. I mean, so this is, as far as enchantments go, like pretty solid. It doesn't give evasion, which makes it like kind of awkward. I think, like Gift of the Orzhova is probably just like way better than this. Yeah, I'd give it 2.5 too.
I think this card's absurd.
Really?
I think it's probably a 4.
What? Really? Wow.
Yeah, 2/2 is much different than Gift of the Orzhov, which is only 1/1.
Oh, that's true. Gift of the Orzhova was only 1/1.
I mean, with +2/+2, it doesn't even need evasion, and it has trample.
Nah.
It's like you throw it on and you just bash their face in.
Yeah. And I guess you can also just throw it on a evasive creature for added, like a bird token or something.
Yeah, this card is just absurd.
All right, yeah. So I think you're right. For some reason, I was thinking like Gift of the Orzhova was also 2/2. All right, you've convinced me this time. I would rank it higher. What are you putting it at?
I'm putting it at a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've convinced me that much. I'll give it a 3.
I would happily first pick this card.
Really?
Yeah.
Man. Are you a fan of Voltron?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
The thing is, it doesn't even need to survive that long before it's done, and that's an insane amount of work.
I mean, I guess. I just, the idea of, to me, like the idea of the fact that it has trample kind of seems a little bit irrelevant. You're really looking at the increased power, toughness, and lifelink. And the fact that you're not giving your creature effective evasion means that you might not be able to effectively attack into that creature without getting, without trading. I guess you're probably trading 2 for 2 at that point, so maybe it's not the worst. Okay, Voice of Resurgence, green-white for a 2/2. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, or when Voice of Resurgence dies, put a green and white elemental creature token onto the battlefield with this creature token's power and toughness are equal to the total number of creatures you control. Interesting. So it's whenever your opponent casts a spell during your turn, or when it dies, you get like a big token. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. And for 2 mana, it's just a 2/2, and when it dies, you get like an awesome effect. I'd say 4.
I'd probably say 3.5.
Really?
I think it's very solid, but I mean, think of what was the one in your turn replica, 3 mana, like it populated. It was star equal the number, or 1/1.
Oh, Wayfaring Temple.
Yeah, I mean that was. Yeah. I think that's better.
Well, this has the potential to give you multiple Wayfaring Temples.
Not really. I mean, in limited, they're just not going to cast on your turn, yeah. and they don't really need to cast on your turn.
Yeah.
So I'd give it. It's very solid. I'd give it a 3.5.
All right. All right. Moving on to Golgari, we have Deadbridge Chant, 4 colorless, a black and a green enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 10 cards of your library into your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. I mean, this is kind of like the very slow, grindy card that if the game moves on, this could really take the game away. But it also has the potential to whiff for a few turns, and it doesn't have any impact when it's immediately played. So this is kind of a hard card to evaluate. I would say a 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on again just the format and how slow it is and whatnot. If you put it into play and you can just stall the game, you're basically going to win. I mean, it's basically Howling Mine for yourself. and there's a major upside if it hits creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'd probably give it a 3.5 if you can make it work.
Yeah, I mean the issue I see is by the time turn 6 comes around, there's a good chance you're going to have things other than creatures in your library, and then you flip over 10 cards. Who knows how many creatures you hit? We've seen with the random mill effects, sometimes that's like 0 or like 20.
Yeah, and
so,
I guess sometimes you'll get lands out of it, but
yeah.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to try to make it work.
Oh yeah, no, me too. I don't think I'd first pick this card though.
I might. If it's a weak pack, I might first pick this.
All right.
I'd take it over most like random good cards.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So we're putting it 3-5. You think?
I would give it a 3.5. It could be way off. It could be basically unplayable.
Well, I'm kind of like equating it to those like 7 mana enchantments from Return to Ravnica that were just stone cold unplayable.
I don't remember those.
There's 2 of them. One was green, and it was like it like doubled your scavenge or something, and then the other was black, and it was like whenever an opponent's creature died, like it just comes into the battlefield under your control.
That's true.
And like
but
they got absurd
those...
if you played them and like lived and then started killing their stuff, but it was like
kind of. But all of those needed another card to be good with.
I guess.
This one, like it does it by itself.
True. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, we're still paused. No, we're going. We should edit this out later. Drown in Filth is a black and a green. Choose target creature. Put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then that creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each land card in your graveyard. So this I guess if you have another way to get lands into your graveyard, this could be pretty good. But if you don't, then it's like not very good at all. I guess I'll give it a 3.
I'd probably call it a sideboard card at
Really?
best. I mean, the fact that it uses your graveyard and not their opponents.
Yeah, it means you can't.
Makes it really. Yeah, it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
And you don't really. The most of the incidental mill cards target. I guess they can target you. Like, what's the Balustrade Spy? You can target yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's going to be difficult to make it work well.
And and if you're using those cards to target yourself, then you're taking away the synergies with all the other cards that work off their graveyard.
So I'd probably sideboard it in against like a Demure player sort of thing.
It'll be interesting to see, like, does the Golgari player want things like Balustrade Spy to mill themselves to search for scavenge, an extra value in cards like this?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but I mean, it certainly doesn't have the interaction with Grizzly Spectacle, and a lot of the other stuff is not. You don't get a choice on who it mills.
No, well, no, this does interact with the Grizzly Spectacle, right? Because like you put the cards, you choose like a creature or land, put it into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard.
No, Grizzly Spectacle. That's the one you kill a creature, and then it's the creature's controller.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of what was the green-black
Grizzly
card?
Salvage.
Salvage, yeah.
Actually, in that case, then yeah, you're right. I forgot about that interaction. It could be pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it at a 3.
Okay, I'll give it a 3. That's fine.
Here we have Gaze of Granite, X, colorless, black, green for a sorcery. Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X or less. Interesting. This could be pretty powerful if you have a lot of mana. Like, you can just wipe the board, and you can kind of control, how much you wipe. So if you have, like, a big dude, you can, like, wipe everything else, and you're just left with that. I could see this being pretty good, but also slow. So you probably want to ideally cast it around like 6 to 7 mana, maybe. I'd give this a 3/5, maybe 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd give it a 3/5. It has the potential to be very solid. It has the potential to be a one-sided wrath, which always warrants very strong consideration. So yeah, a 3/5 sounds right.
All right. Okay, Corrosive to Gorgon, 3 colorless, black green for a 2/5 Death Touch. Remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So this is going to have good synergies with all of your evolve guys. So I could see this being pretty powerful. Like 2/5 Death Touch is just annoying, and then like the ability to use counters to ping their guys is kind of gravy. I'd give this a 3.5.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Okay, here we have Putrefy, colorless, black, green for an instant, destroy target artifact or creature, it can't be regenerated. This is the epitome of amazing removal. I think this is a solid 4.
Yep.
Yeah, not much to talk about. This does everything you want removal to do. Alright, we have Rot Farm Skeleton, 2 colorless, black-green for a 4/1. Rot Farm Skeleton can't block, and then you can pay 2 colorless, black-green, and put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. Return Rot Farm Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only when you can play a sorcery. So pretty solid. He comes back. He's annoying. It looks like he might enable your graveyard side of things like Scavenge and that spell we talked about earlier. I'd give this 3/5.
Sorry. I forgot to read the card ahead of time.
That's okay. 4/1, can't block, and then he can pop back out and then put cards into your graveyard from your library when he does that.
So he self-mills, and you can pop in and out. Yeah, what was your rating?
3/5.
Yeah, I'd give him that sounds appropriate. 3/5 sounds right.
Yeah. Okay, here we have Varolals, the Star-Striped, or the Scar-Striped. 1 colorless, a black and a green for a 2/2. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. The Scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. Okay, well this guy's pretty absurd. But Scavenge was pretty slow in Return to Ravnica, but this will probably be a slow format. I give this guy a 4.
I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give him a pretty solid 4.
Yeah, he seems to scream value. Alright, time to look at the Gruul cards, starting with Feral Animist, a 1 colorless, a red and a green for a 2/1, and you can tap 3 colorless to give him +X, +0 until end of turn, where X is his power. So I guess if you can put stuff on him like enchantments and whatnot, his ability becomes better. But I haven't seen a lot of equipment really. Like we looked at the artifacts and there was nothing in there for this set, and the equipment for the previous 2 sets was not exciting at all. So I don't see this guy being super great. I guess if he's unblocked, he can maybe deal 4 damage to them, but I don't know, 2.5.
Yeah, I'd give it probably a little less. I mean, I think his ability is basically irrelevant. I mean, even though you can use it multiple times and it stacks on itself, but they're just going to block him. It's a 2/1.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd probably give him like a 2.
Yeah. All right, Gruul War Chant, 2 colorless, red-green. Enchantment, each attacking creature you control gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Interesting, so this is kind of like madcap skills for everybody.
I was going to say Goblin War Drums, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, kind of like that, too. This would be an interesting card. I think in the right deck, this could really do some work. Gruul has a lot of really big dudes, and it's going to be real awkward for them if they have to, throw multiple people in front of said big dudes. I give this card a 3.
Yeah, I may even give it a 3.5. I think it's a very powerful effect. Madcap Skills was absurd, and just the fact that this gives it everything, plus its interaction with Blood Rush is going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, I agree. 3.5. This is Rurik Thar, the Unbowed, Thor's slower brother. 4 colorless, a red and a green for a 6/6, which has vigilance and reach. And if Rurik Thar Rurik Thar, the Unbowed, attacks each turn if able, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, he deals 6 damage to them. So I guess if they ever try to remove him with a spell, he domes them for 6. And he's a 6/6 for 6. Granted, he does have to attack each turn, but you probably want him to be doing that anyways. And Blood Rush kind of mitigates, that effect being not the worst. I'd give this guy a 3.5.
He has an axe on his hand.
Yeah.
I'd give him that easily deserves 3.5.
Easily 3.5. I don't know if he's quite 4. Maybe if both hands were an axe.
Yeah, not quite a 4.
Yeah.
His real hand kind of sets him back.
All right, 3.5 for Rurik Thar, who is, I think, so far the hardest to pronounce, or most difficult to pronounce card so far. I stumbled over him quite a few times. Okay, we have Savage Born Hydra, X colorless, a red and a green for a 0/0, double strike, enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters, and you can pay a red and a hybrid green-red, a colorless and a hybrid green-red to put a 1/1 counter on him, and activate this ability only when you can play a sorcery. This guy looks absurd. This is a solid 4. I don't know. I don't know if it's 5, but it's solid 4.
Maybe even a 4.5. I mean,
Yeah.
they need unconditional removal to kill him, and otherwise he just kind of eats their team and then eats them.
I mean, he just gets huge. Like, you tap out to play him, and he's probably like a 4/4 or a 5/5 double strike when that happens. And if they don't remove him on the spot, he's like a 7/7 the next turn or something silly. I mean, like, yeah, this guy's good. We have a Scab Clan Giant, 4 colorless, red green for a 4/5. When he enters the battlefield, it fights a target creature an opponent controls, chosen at random. So, a 4/5 is probably going to be bigger than most of their stuff. So the random clause might not be the biggest drawback. You just might not kill a relevant creature. I give this guy a 3.
I'd give him a 3/5. I mean, generally when you play it, it's going to be 2 for 1.
Yeah.
And I give it a 3/5.
All right. Zxarien Ancient, 5 mana, 3 colorless, red green for a 7/5. And whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana to his or her mana pool of any type that land produces. So, I mean, 7/5 for 5 mana is a good deal. And I guess it does benefit your opponent before it benefits you, which is awkward. Um, Once you get to 5 mana, yeah, I don't know. I kind of just want to give this guy a 3 just because I could easily see him, being awkward because you don't want to play him when it benefits them more than you.
Yeah, I mean, he still is a 7/5 for 5 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, the worst case scenario is basically they tap out and play a kill spell and a threat.
Yeah.
In which case, I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily good. It's not good for you, but it's not the end of the world. So I'd still probably give it. I'd probably give it a 3/5.
Okay.
I mean, a 7/5 for 5 is going to be.
It's pretty big. All right, Zhurtar Druid, red green for a 1/1. Tap it to add green to your mana pool, and whenever he taps for mana, he deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is pretty sweet. I'm actually a fan of this card. This guy is basically a better version of the stupid Druid from Gatecrash, who just. I don't know if I ever actually tapped him for mana. I'm sure it happened once. It just felt like it never ever happened, and it was so frustrating. Because he's a mana elf that didn't tap for mana. I'm kind of ranting about a different card, not really talking about this one. But this guy always taps for mana, which is awesome. So he ramps you, and he pings your opponent. And now that they removed mana burn, like he's not burning you, I give this guy solid 3/5.
Yeah, I think he's going to be amazing. The ramp is very relevant. I mean, the ping is just all upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's easily a 3/5.
Yeah.